Hey guys, I am at my Colorado house right now because I got my gallbladder out, I guess around the 8th of January, and it kind of screwed everything up. Normally I come here before that, so, ooh, we're getting a lot of snow. It is a snowy, snowy day. It is a perfect day to hang in by the fireplace. So, so that's what I'm doing, and I'm making videos. My gallbladder surgery was the kind that they do laparoscopically, so they used equipment inside and a video camera, etc. But they blow you up with air so that they can see what's going on. And it's not in your intestines, it's literally in your guts. They just blow you right up so that they can see, otherwise you're just all squished together. So they did that, and it makes you just miserable afterwards. I had, they called it gas pains, but it was like, it's air trapped. It was in my neck and in my shoulders. So laying down, I felt like I could not breathe because it was just so full of that air. I ended up having to just move around constantly. So my mom's like, come on, now's a great time for us to do the grapevine. So I just hovered around with my mom, but it was better than laying around. While I was doing that, I wasn't feeling any pain. It was only after I got back inside and laid back down that everything starts hurting again. So I strongly recommend doing light chores after having any kind of laparoscopic abdominal surgery. So Mom, what exactly is a cordon and what is a spur?
The cordons are the main branches that come up and run along and have the fruiting spurs grow off of it. So what we need to do is clip these extra branches that are growing so that they will fruit. And they will fruit if we cut them back. And we have to decide, these are your early plants, so we didn't trim them back very much last year.
So for the backstory, my mom has been growing grapevines at several houses for the last 15 years or so. So she's really into it. She knows what she's doing. I have never done it before in my life. I just planted these last year. And I remember my mom warning me, it's not a good idea to plant these on a fence like this because they'll get all wrapped up in the fence and then we're going to have to unwind everything. You don't mind the top running along the top of the fence, but you don't want the cordons that go up the fence to be interwoven. The reason you don't want to plant these on a fence is the cordon of the grapevine becomes a little tree trunk. And I obviously need my fence. I can't just cut my fence because my chickens will get out. So it's super important that you not have what is going to be the original cordons. You don't want that being interwoven amongst a fence. And that's exactly what happened with mine. So I don't know if it's a dead...
Well, this is a green vine down here at the bottom. It's on your side of the fence.
Well, if it's the only one that's... I don't know if the other ones are even alive. How would you know?
They're green.
Okay, so they are alive. They just died back really early?
Yeah.
All right. Maybe some of these varieties do die back sooner. I was concerned because one of my plants died back about 4 months earlier than everything else. And it turns out, you'll see in a minute, that it really was dead.
Here, pull this off over there.
So this is a get rid of?
Yeah.
That would really help my channel if you would subscribe and also leave a comment and like my channel. Thank you.
They're so prolific that you cannot trim them back during the summer.
Look at how this gigantic one, this attaches to it. This big, huge one is attached to this.
Yes.
So do we want to cut that back, or?
Yeah, it has to be a
You want me to cut it? I'm over
Yeah,
here.
cut it right there.
If you go up high, it's easier to cut.
Yeah. Well, you have to be like within 1/8 of an inch of that bud.
My mother is like obsessed with training the grapes. She really knows what she's doing. She makes sure to cut them back exactly the way they're supposed to be cut back. If you don't do that, you will not get grapes. They only grow on the wood that has formed that season. So any old wood is not going to grow any grapes. So you want to have that cordon get nice and big. Over time, it's going to become bigger and bigger. Think of what, look at a picture of the grapevines in Napa Valley. They have this gigantic stalk, and then off the top, another big fat stalk is running. That's your cordon. And then you have canes coming off of that, and that's where the fruit will form. And those canes, it's that year's wood that will form the fruit. Any other, in past year's wood will not form any fruit, so you might as well take it off. If you want the fruit. I mean, if you just want it because you like to look at your plants and you want to have a lot of greenery, maybe you're using it as a privacy hedge, then you wouldn't need to do this. But if you want to actually produce grapes and you're into that, then you need to do this. The other thing you need to do is there's these little tendrils that form, and they hold the grapes to, whatever they're holding onto. It's a vine, so it will grab. The tendrils will literally wrap around the cordon, and it will strangulate that cordon if you're not careful. So you have to go back at the end of each season and remove any tendrils that are there and just get rid of them. And it's not a big deal.
Paula,
Yeah.
see if you can angle this down in here. Why is it not moving? Oh, it wants to break.
Is it attached to something?
No, it's just want to
Oh well.
toast.
Whoopsie. And it just wants to break here too.
Yes. This whole bark system here, look at this. This is split all the way down.
I
and
think
it's all the way around.
It was like dead.
This one here was?
Yeah, this one, it's like, and you said there were 2 of them. I thought,
Yeah.
well, this one I think is just about dead.
The bark is splitting. No, it's cracking here. Put down some so it'll go through. Oh, forget it.
Yeah. But I think this is all
It
dead
feels
anyway.
dead, yeah.
It's dead. The whole thing is. So should I move this since it's alive?
We could leave it on the outside.
I guess, okay. Can you pull that through, that little part that's dead?
Yeah, is it?
It's dead anyway. Look at this. There's nothing live
Damn.
in that.
Huh.
This one died like about maybe, it
I
died
wonder
back.
if it got lightning struck because it's got a hole all the way through it. here.
Well, 4 months before everybody else died back, this one died back.
Hmm.
So I thought, well, so I think that whole thing is dead. Now this one you said is alive.
It looks alive.
Well, let's use that then.
We'll see. Although this looks pretty. No, it feels like it's limber.
Supple stuff.
Yep. But we're gonna have to release it, honey. 'Cause it can't go.
Let me cut it on this side. So that it's long. Now keep in mind
I think it should go over here, Paula. We should train it to go this way because
Nothing's
there's
there.
sun. Yeah, there's sun there.
okay. Well, there's 2 of them.
Nope. This is. You could do that as 2 cordons.
Like have it come up and then split.
This one go over here.
I really lucked out because even though a huge grapevine died, right next to it within a foot was a second grapevine.
What is this? This has got to be garden home. Southern garden. Southern home. It's so prolific.
So after getting a really good look at all my grapevines, there's 8 separate plants. My mom determined that it's best if we have 4 cordons for each plant. We ran 2 cordons halfway up. One went to the left and one went to the right. So we'll have grapes growing halfway up the fence line, and they'll shoot through to the other side of the fence. The chickens will be able to eat all of those that are on the inside, but not on the outside of the fence. And then on top, a second set of cordons went to the very top, and we're going to run those each direction along the top of the fence line. And it's kind of nice because the chickens theoretically shouldn't be able to reach those. So that should give me about 1/4 of the grapes will be eaten by all the chickens, and about 3/4 we should be able to bring inside for us. And of course, the girls, I freeze them a lot of times. I freeze grapes for them. They love frozen grapes and frozen watermelon and things like that. So that makes them happy. But they really love to be able to walk along the fence line and just pick fruit off the plants. That's a favorite for them. So in this area, you can see it was so prolific. You can see all those vines were about 20 feet long. What I decided to do is keep those, and I'm going to wind and weave those into my bird netting so that the hawks can see the bird netting better, and I'll have less chance of them getting caught up in my bird netting. It's a really pretty way of reusing something like this. Here you can see we were just weaving back and forth. It really was a requirement that one person be on one side of the fence and one person be on the outside of the fence, because at some point my mom was like, okay, pull this through, and then I'd have to hand it back to her and she would pull it through. And these were 20-foot long grapevines that we were weaving back and forth to each other. To me, this was one of the funnest days I can remember at doing a farm chore. Usually whenever I would go to my parents' Brandon house, my mom would just assign me to work on, they've got peaches and plums, and she had trained me years ago how to prune those back. But this is the first time we've worked together on the grapevines. It's always been something she pretty much just did herself. And it was really exciting that we could work on them together and get these done. And I'm happy I learned how to do this also.
Decide which ones you want to do. And you start at the bottom and look at them. See which ones you want. Goodness gracious. Right here, we'll cut this off.
I'll just cut the obvious knot leaders.
Pull this one out.
If you have grapevines, I would love to know how you're growing your grapevines. What are you doing differently? And if you don't have grapevines and you're in Florida, why not?
Do you have some ones that you think should be the...
Yeah.
Now, I don't fertilize my grapes. I know a lot of people use 10-10-10 on their grapes, but I don't feel like I need to. I'm not that obsessed with getting a lot of grapes. And because my chickens poop right there, I feel like I don't need to fertilize my grapes.
This one right here is toast.
So I have Florida Home, I also have Pollyanna, and I have Florida Fry. And those are all muscadine grapes. One of them is a type of hybrid. The Florida Home is a type of hybrid. It is extremely prolific. I mean, shockingly, I had a lot of grapes for the first year. We planted them in, I think we planted them in probably June-ish, July-ish. And so we didn't really trim them too much because they were really baby plants. The following year they grew like crazy, and so that's what and now we're up against the first real trim. So my mom, who is a total professional at this, she will sit and look at each plant. She'll identify, we've decided that we're going to have 4 cordons, so 4 little tree trunks that will go up. We're going to have mine halfway up. One will go to the left and one will go to the right. So the reason we did that is my fence is 5 feet tall. So I would like to have grapevines running along the top of the fence, and then it will almost be like an umbrella effect with the grape. I've seen them numerous times jump up, and they can jump almost to the top of the fence and grab grapes off. So the ones on the outside of the fence are going to be safe mainly, and then everything on the inside will pretty much be fair game for the chickens. So my mom spends an amazing amount of time studying each plant because this is the first year. So you want to have, when you decide which ones to keep, I've got probably 10 items that could become a cordon, which is like the tree trunk. And then the way you identify which ones you want to keep are which one is the fattest. If it's really fat and really long and it has a bunch of fruiting spurs, that is an obvious. But then sometimes you'll have some that are the same fatness, and if you're down to finally you're picking the 4th one to keep on each plant, maybe you have 2 of them that look about the same. You're going to pick them based on whichever one's the longest and has the most spurs. So at a certain point you just cut it back. But if you have no spurs on one and the other one has 5 or 6 spurs, you're going to keep the one with 5 or 6 spurs even if the other one is longer, because my plants are planted about every 10 feet apart. So they're going to be running down to the next plant, and that plant is going to be running back this direction toward this plant, and they'll all be kicking off fruiting spurs. Well, the first year I would have expected this. You know what I mean?
We want this one to go through. So there's this one that goes to this. What do we want to do with this thing?
I have to sit and look at it for a minute.
Okay.
And then all these branches here. You gotta go through this fence. Can you find the end of this and pull it off, and so we can?
You know, so one of the things that I love so much about this channel and about doing this, frankly, we do all this anyway. My mom and I have been farming together, making jellies together, doing all of this for years and years. And my dad too. My dad is really into yard work. He's always been one to get out, and he's always out mowing or blowing. We used to joke and say he's got to go out and blow the deck anytime there was drama in the house. Now, my family, there's 5 kids, and we would just raise hell. I'm amazed. And my dad would always have to go out and blow the deck. That was how he would escape. But we're all really super close. I have the most amazing, I have 1 brother and I have 3 sisters. We're all super close. I just love them all so much. And one of the things I remember being told by my mom and my dad, you're not all the same. You are not all alike. You have different opinions, but that doesn't mean you don't love each other. You can have different thoughts on things and still love each other. And so, I have relatives. We're all over the charts in terms of politics. We're all over in the charts in terms of our hobbies, our jobs. We're just like, none of us are anywhere near doing the same type of work even. And I feel really super blessed. Everybody's so wonderful. I really feel super blessed. And I think a lot of that has to do with, my mom and dad, they kind of trained us that we're all different people. Everybody's going to be different. No one's going to do it your way. No one's going to want to do it your way. You don't even want them doing it your way, because that would get really old and really boring. So being able to love and respect each other and really care about each other and see each other all the time. I see my family all the time, and I talk to them on the phone all the time, and we're really close, and I feel super blessed for that. And I feel really blessed that my mom and dad were smart enough to train their kids that, we're all going to have differences, and it's okay. You can have differences. So I love being able to do the various stuff with my mom and my dad. We fish a lot. It's a blast. When I come to Colorado, they are my chief babysitters. I totally trust my parents with the chickens. They take it as serious as I do. This is not a joke. These chickens will die if we don't lock them up at night. A raccoon would go in there for sure the first time we don't lock them up. So they're very careful with the chickens, and they love the chickens. Frankly, the chickens are probably sad to see me return, because my mom and dad buy them like 1,000 crickets every couple of days, and they stuff those chickens with crickets the whole time I'm gone. But, well, thanks, guys. It was such a pleasure chit-chatting with you like this. This was a little bit different of a video, because I realized, wow, I didn't zoom in on anything. It was the day after a major surgery. But I still wanted to do a video on us cutting those grapes. So anyway, you guys take care. Bye.